I'm a bad mom. I'm failing these kids. I'm a hot mess. I'll never get it together, right? These thoughts, they're crushing to your body. Like the feelings you will have physically in your body when you have those thoughts will completely steal your peace. They won't help you solve anything. And I just didn't know until well into parenting that those thoughts were optional.
Welcome to the Homeschool Connections podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlin Zara, and I'm so glad you're spending some time with me today. New episodes drop every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. All right, mamas, grab your coffee, press play, and let's homeschool together. Today, we're joined by Sterling Jaquith. She's a homeschooling mom, and she's the passionate voice behind Catholic Mom Calm, where she helps women embrace peace, purpose, and holiness in the heart of motherhood. Sterling, I am so excited to talk to you today.
Thanks for inviting me. I have been a big fan of Homeschool Connections for a long time. You guys have just been such a safe haven for moms who are trying to figure it all out.
I love hearing that. Thank you so much. I know that means to everybody. It means so much to everybody on our team. Sterling, I have so much that we need to talk about today.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm going to dive in deep right from the get-go. Do you think motherhood today is harder or more complicated than it was in generations past? I know a lot of women feel that way. And I know that most moms describe themselves as feeling pretty stressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the difference is, when we think about the past, we know that there was a lot more famine, disease, kids dying pretty early of things that now we can use antibiotics for. And so we think the times back then were so much harder. But if you think about it from a brain standpoint, the way that the brain had to process those things was so clean and simple. Like you just knew, oh, this kid is sick and we're going to take care of this kid right now. Or my husband's going off to war. I'm going to buckle down and take care of this little house right here. It was so simple. We didn't have nearly the amount of information that we have now, just inundating our senses. And that is what's making us crazy. Not only is it the information overload, it's crazy how much we know, but it's also the noise. There's so much noise that we hear all the time. There's phones and podcasts and television. So it's noise, information, and then everybody knows we don't really have support. We don't. I think we hear that and we say it kind of in a cutesy way, almost like, well, it takes a village and we don't have that anymore. But I really want to grab every mom and say that is such a huge deal. Like even in Poland, when we think about Poland in the world wars, and I love the stories of JP2 that come out of that, when we think about that, the moms, even if they were scared and even if they had to take things underground, the community, the Polish community, they came together. They had each other around the horrible thing that was happening. And so I think what's happening to us right now is we're living through something emotionally horrible, kind of like the Great Depression, but we don't have language for it yet. Language is so important. So we don't have a shared language for what's happening right now, and we're super isolated and alone. So even in the Great Depression, you would have come out of your house and been able to talk to the people who live next to you. And most of them would have been Christian. Right? Most of them would have believed in Jesus. And now we really don't have that. So we're super alone and our brains are fritzing out. Just when you actually think about wires and they're sparking and fritzing out just like that, that's what's happening in our brains because of so much information that's going into our eyeballs.
I couldn't agree more. I think so many moms identify as being overstimulated, and I agree. There is just this, we're inundated with so much information and so much noise, like you say. But Sterling, how is it, make this make sense for me, how is it that we have social media at our fingertips where we can talk to other people 24/7 around the world, but we're feeling more isolated than ever? How is that possible?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to that information. I was coaching someone the other day, and she was telling me about, poisons in the food and parasites and getting her kids enough time outside. And she just kept listing all of these things. And I tracked with every single one of them because I also have seen posts about these things that feel really important and really pressing. And she was just drowning in the idea of how do I balance all of these things? So imagine that you go to a job and every day they give you 10 new things that you need to do with no training. They're like, hey, welcome back. Yesterday was such a great day. Today, here's 10 new things that you should be really worried about. And I'm not going to tell you how to do them. And I'm going to put you in an office by yourself. That's what's happening to us, where it's all the time we're being told that these big, big things are wrong. And it's almost like someone's spinning around our shoulders and then sending us back into the world, but then we're alone. So even though you're seeing people's faces, there's no kind of connection there. It's mostly just things that make us feel bad or pressure or like we're failing. And then when we pop up out of that screen days, we look around and we're like, I don't even know what's real. I don't know where to start. And I don't even have anyone to talk to today about it.
I feel that way. And I feel like the people who I do talk to about it also feel like me. So it
Right.
is the blind leading the blind. We're all like, wait, how do we detox our kids? How do we take care of the parasites? How do we eat healthier? How do we do this to our water? I mean, it's
Yeah.
exactly the things that you said. We're being fed on all of these, social media platforms. And then we're all looking at each other like exactly what you said. We don't know how to solve these big problems. And
Yeah.
then we're just left with the weight of the world on our shoulders, thinking that somehow we're failing our families by not taking care of all of these things. So, Sterling, what do we do to reframe our mindset? It might be for all these things that we feel like we've got to get done that are pressing and that are important, but maybe it's that the homeschool lessons didn't get done. Maybe dinner sat in the oven for 5 minutes too long and it burned. Maybe you were stuck in traffic and you were late and your kids missed their practice. What do we do for the overstimulated, stressed mom who's got her heart in the right place, but is just, like we said, being inundated with all that's going on around her?
Yeah. Well, the two things that I recommend the most, the first, which is simple and everyone can do it, and it sounds so silly that your brain is going to tell you it's not important, but it really is, and it's just breathing. When you breathe slowly and when you breathe deeply, your brain goes from thinking there is a tiger chasing me and this is a huge problem to I think I'm safe right now. And just really imagine that. Imagine if a tiger was chasing you and you're in the wild and your body floods your system with cortisol, which is what it's supposed to do, and you're running. You would never stop and do box breathing is one example where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and then you hold for 4. So it's this nice box breathing, and that's what Navy SEALs do to calm down. It's my favorite thing. And your brain, like if you stop to do that, it goes, "Huh, I guess we are safe. I guess nothing is wrong." And so when you're in these moments and you feel the thermometer in your body rising, and women know that. They know when it's starting to come up and their breathing is shallow. Just don't even engage in anything until you start breathing. Because the thing is, the blood in your brain gets redirected from your problem-solving part of your brain to the dumb part of your brain that's like, hey, let's not die. That's the only charter that part has. And so we're not even good at problem solving. I will talk to women who will come to me and they'll be like, Sterling, I don't know how to do meal planning. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have 5 kids. Like, how at this point? And I don't say it in a shaming way. I just go, isn't it interesting that we don't know how to do that 5 kids in? But it's because we are problem solving meal planning always from a stress state. So we're like, I don't know what to make, and there's nothing in the fridge, and I'm a terrible mom, and nothing's working. And like from that place, we're Pinteresting things, and it's just a mess. But if I can get a mom to calm down, and that's why we put calm in the word in everything that we do, right? If I can get her to calm down, her brain comes back online. And it turns out, you guys, you're really good problem solvers. I don't solve problems for anyone. I just ask them questions when they're calm, and they have the most beautiful, perfect answers. And so I just want you to know that that's inside of you. So the first one is breathing. But the second one, and this just takes a little bit longer to grapple with, is to stop believing everything that goes through your brain. Your brain is just a ticker tape of thoughts. And I was 34, you guys. I was 34 when someone said, don't believe all the sentences in your brain. And I was like, what? And I don't think I had ever heard that concept before. We just have a running monologue in our minds, but nobody teaches us how to sort them out. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to sort them out into this is good and holy and leads me to Christ, and it isn't. And I think that's what that scripture verse that says, take every thought captive for Christ means. The fact that they had to put that in there means there's a version of you that doesn't take every thought captive for Christ. You have to do it on purpose. And so when you start thinking, I'm a bad mom, I'm failing these kids, I'm a hot mess, I'll never get it together, right? These thoughts, they're crushing to your body. Like the feelings you will have physically in your body when you have those thoughts will completely steal your peace. They won't help you solve anything. And I just didn't know until well into parenting that those thoughts were optional, that I could watch a thought come up and I could go, oh, that's not true, and just like filter out of my brain. And that is, I think, just the major, major skill that most moms are missing.
I do too. So it sounds like a lot of us have this guilt, mom guilt that we're
Yeah.
carrying around, right? That dinner didn't get made and there was nothing in the fridge and that was our fault and whatever it may be. Is it really about, is what you're saying self talk? Should we rewire the way that we talk to ourselves? And how can we get started on that? Is there a way that we can just get, I don't know, dig deep into rewiring how we speak to ourselves?
Yeah. I love calling it self-talk because I think we all understand what that means. Like just the way that I talk to myself in my brain. And the easiest way for women to do it is to just imagine how you would speak to a 10-year-old girl. You know that. You know right
I'd be
now.
so kind to her. I'd be so
Right.
loving. I'd be so warm and so forgiving.
Yes. Like let's say you're this 10-year-old girl was playing with the neighborhood kids and Bobby, this mean kid, says, "You're ugly, no one will ever marry you." And she comes home and she's like, "Mom, Bobby said I was ugly and no one would ever marry me." First of all, the first thing that you would not do is go, "That's not true. Be quiet. Why are you crying over that? That's not even a big deal." And yet that's like exactly how we talk to ourselves, right? We're
Yeah.
so mean.
Yes.
Like the first thing is we're like, "Honey, I'm so sorry." And we just hug her. Like we just
Mhm.
hug her and we sit with her and we're like, "I bet that hurts so much." Even though we fully know that's ridiculous, it's not true, and this isn't a lifelong problem. Like we're not even
Right.
that worried about it as moms. But we hold her heart because it's really real and true for her right then. Right. So much is, and that's why my work, people describe it as a really lovely balance between validating what's hard and then giving the tools to get out of it. Cause I think it needs to be both. And I think too often people live in one side or the other where they just like, "Oh, motherhood is so terrible. It's so hard." And we just live on that side of things. Or we tough love them like, "Hey, you just need to wake up earlier and drink more water." That's my favorite, is that the internet kind of makes it feel like drinking more water will solve all of your problems. Just like
Yes.
you're,
Wake up before your kids. If
yeah,
it's 4 in the morning, so be it. Just get up earlier than
yeah.
them.
It really, that's not going to solve it for you guys.
No.
But self-talk, the way that you talk to yourself, but I'm telling you, it's so intuitive. And one of the ways to do it is just imagine that your friend is telling you those problems. You are really good at helping your friends. If your friend called you and was like, "That's it. This boy is never going to learn how to read. We're struggling so much. It's just like fighting him every day. I want to put him in school. I don't think this is working. And I'm so upset." Right? Like, the first thing we say to our friend is, "I know it's really hard. Some boys take a really long time to read, and it is really hard. And those strong willed kids that want to fight us tooth and nail every single day, like, that's really hard." And it's pretty common. That's the other thing. I think it's important that we not think that we're all special broken unicorns. Like, we really do think that, like, we're the only ones that are
Only
struggling
ones.
with this thing. And I'm like, you are definitely not the only one that's struggling with this thing. And so just validating first. It has to be validating first so that you're not squashing that little girl inside of you. And then if you can calm down, which usually the validating stage will do for you, you'll be calm by the time you're done with that. Then you're just like, "Hey, what do you need?" That's one of my favorite questions to ask myself. I just go, "Hey, love, what do you need right now?" And you will know the answer. You will know what you need.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. I think even envisioning ourselves as that 10-year-old girl, thinking how we would have treated our younger selves is a powerful, powerful tool.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I'm going to make a big admission, a confession. I don't do the box breathing. I don't take the time to do deep breaths. I usually run and grab my phone.
Yeah.
So it's after something that was overly stimulating, like after my homeschool lessons are done. I've got a snack prepped. They've got their Legos out. They're going to
Yeah.
do something active. I'll go sit down and look at my phone and scroll for 10 minutes as a breather. Funny that I use the word breather, right?
Yeah.
As a breather and a substitute for doing something like box breathing because I enjoy the dopamine hit and a few minutes of quiet time. And it's something I harbor a lot of guilt about. I don't like that I use it as a crutch. And I heard you speak recently about letting go of some of that mom guilt because initially all we want to do is guilt ourselves for using our phones. And it's
Right.
kind of twofold. I don't want to use it. I don't want to use it as a crutch, but I also don't want to keep beating myself up. I wouldn't beat a friend up for it. So talk to me about moms and their phone use. Just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Benedictine College is located in the small picturesque town of Atchison, Kansas. The college is Newman Guide recommended, plus a top college in U.S. News and the Wall Street Journal. It's also homeschool friendly with a very family-oriented atmosphere, small class sizes, and outstanding ministry and student life programming. Go to benedictine.edu to learn more.
I really want to talk about phones, but as I talk about phones, you guys, I want you to know that for some of you, it's chocolate chips, and for some of you, it's Netflix, and for some
Yes.
of you, it's Amazon,
Yes.
and for some of you, it's wine, right? It's just like when a being has so much stress, it has to come out somewhere. Like we have to cope in some way. And I think phones are the most common way right now, but you might have a slightly different
It's a
flavor of
great
that.
point.
You can even run in a way that's unhealthy, right? Like you can be obsessed
Yeah.
with running because you can't stand your own life. And so even a healthy behavior, like we would consider exercise a healthy behavior. But there are some moms that are just like compulsive about running because they just can't handle their own lives. And that's where it tips into this place where it feels like you're doing it against your will. And that's exactly what you're describing. It's like we're watching ourselves do something and we're like, I don't want to be doing this, but we keep doing it.
Yep.
So I have been teaching moms to cope with stress for 10 years. So I've been doing that for a long time, but it was literally just last fall. I was praying and I felt God asking me to write a series of prayer books. He's kind of put that on my heart for a while. I don't know if you guys know who Stormy O'Martin is, but she is a Christian woman and she has this amazing series of books. But when you read them, you're like, that's a Protestant-y way to say that. And there's a couple things in there that are a little squirrely and a little not what we would say. And so it's been on my heart to write these books. But I was telling the Lord, I said, listen, there's just too much noise in my life. I don't know how I could write these books for you right now. Like you need to change something in my life. And I really felt like he said, hey, I want you to go on a screen sabbatical. Give up these screens and clear out the noise in your life. And then I will give you the words to write these books. So I was like, great. I didn't tell anyone this because it wasn't doing it in my work, right? I have a podcast and I teach women all these things, but I wasn't doing it for that. It was just for me personally to do this. And after 2 months, I could not believe the difference in my brain and my life and the emotions that I was experiencing. And I went, well, I have to tell everyone about this. And so I created a program called Screen Less. And the reason I called it that is because, Kaitlin, it can't be zero. It's not always a problem that you're on your phone. Now, if your kids are literally like you're trying to homeschool the kids, they start fighting with each other. I'm sure that's never happened. And you're like, I can't cope with this. And while they're sitting there, you check out and scroll on your phone. I would say that is a stress response, and I don't love that. Okay. But if you are done with schooling or whatever you wanted to get done in the morning and we've done the snack thing and you go, I love you so much and this is your break and you just love scrolling on Instagram for 30 minutes, I would actually say that that's fine. So
Mind is
I'm
blown.
not,
This is giving me
yeah,
a lot of relief, Sterling. Please tell me why you feel this way, because I'm feeling great about what you're saying.
yeah. Well, I'm not no screens. I don't drink very much, but this is just a cruel joke from the Lord that by the time I was like 35, alcohol started making me sick. So I don't have a soapbox about alcohol, but I really just don't drink almost at all because it just makes me sick now. But it's the same thing. Like, I think it's fine to have a glass of wine. I think it's fine to have a piece of chocolate cake, right? I think it's fine to sit and watch a movie. These things are fine. One of my favorite quotes is is it St. Teresa of Avila is sitting with St. John, and St. John pushes this chocolate cake away and says, for the glory of God. And she slices a big slice and puts it on her plate and goes, for the glory of God, and then eats it.
I
I
love
just love
that.
that so much.
So
But it just
good.
shows us that phones are okay. I mean, whatever leisure you're choosing is okay. I mean, obviously, if it's not immoral, but most of the things we're talking about are not immoral. They're okay. And if that's how you want to choose to spend your leisure time and we're labeling that and you're planning it and it's constrained. This is the important thing that I teach is like, I would set a timer and I would say, you get 30 minutes, knock yourself out. Play as much as you want. I used to look at Zillow a lot. I really love Zillow. Which is like the silliest thing if you're not going to buy a house, but
It's your pleasure.
I just really enjoyed it. And so again, I don't think that that's wrong if it's time constrained. But what happened to me, and now all the women who have gone through this program with me, they are like, their thinking comes back online. Their anxiety goes down. They didn't realize that they were ping ponging so much between dopamine withdrawal, because we have dopamine withdrawal from the phones. That's what they're designed to do. Then when we get on the phones, it's a weird mix of cortisol because we saw something that freaks us out. Like, oh my gosh, all the kids have parasites and you should be cleansing them every 6 months. I don't know, I'm seeing that a ton right now, but I just totally am. And then
It's all over. The algorithm for moms our age, that's what we're getting. That's the information that we're getting. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, as soon as I turned 42, it was like, you need a weighted vest and you need that red light face thing and like all these things. I was like, Did you just realize I turned 40 and that, like, obviously put me in this other category of my
I get the
content
same
change?
stuff. More protein, weighted vest, water, your cortisol is too high, you need better sleep.
I know. I know. So that is stressing you out. But then in the next moment, you'll see something adorable and heartwarming. I get a lot of dog videos because I really like dogs. And it's like the most adorable, sweet thing. And you're like, and it feels so good. And so you're jerking between these two states for however long that you're scrolling. And when you stop doing that all day long, you just get your life back. And just the number of things that these women are saying, it's affecting them. And they're really like, I'm not going to go back. And again, I'm not asking them to give up their phones. I'm just really asking them to constrain it in the same way that you would constrain watching movies. You're not watching movies 6 hours a day, right? We're not
Right.
sitting in front of the television feeling okay about that. But it's fine if you want to watch an hour of something after the kids go to bed. Right. And the phone is the same thing. I still kind of challenge people about doing it right before bed because I think it jacks up your mind. But I feel the same way about a really intense movie, too, where I'm like,
Yeah,
are we really
absolutely.
watching that right before bed? I don't know. So I want to tell you guys, you're not broken. Everyone's struggling with this. I've not met a mom. I've not met a
Mhm.
mom yet who's like, that's not a problem for me. Like, it is a problem. The phones are wired and created to give you that vagus dopamine hit. So we are literally really legit addicted to these phones. So you're going to feel a withdrawal, but I have them come up with other things to do instead. And I just have them put the phone usage in its place. And then it feels nice. Like you just go and you're like, what are my friends doing? What's this person that I follow say? Like, I think there's a place for it and it can feel really nice. But then when the timer goes off and you put your phone down, then you just feel free. That's really what we want. We don't want to feel like slaves anymore to these phones.
Sterling, I love what you said. I think it's great to replace some of our habits on our phones with other things that we can be doing, other things that we can be doing that are maybe even more valuable or more exciting with our time.
But
So what
can
is
I just jump in real fast on that?
Yeah,
Because the first thing that's gonna come up for all of you women is you're gonna go, "I don't know what I like to do anymore." So and
it's
then you're
true.
gonna feel crushing guilt about that. You're gonna feel like it's a weird thing to be however old you are and not know what you like to do, and I just wanna grab
Yeah.
everyone and be like, "Of course you don't. Of course you don't." Because we're, like, 20, and then we have jobs, and we're out in the world, and life is so different then, and then we're in the tunnel of just like little kids, we're not even thinking about what we like to do. And then when we pop out, we're older and we have kids. So the things we used to like to do don't even necessarily make sense. And so I tell the women, I want you to just date a bunch of things. I want you to go date a bunch of things. Nothing's wrong with you that you don't know what you like right now.
I
Right? Because
love this. Yeah.
yeah, so just like try something, try knitting and be like, I hate knitting. That's terrible. I love Sudoku puzzles, and I don't know how I discovered that, but I tried that and I really liked that. And I just want you to date a bunch of things and like just go on this love affair with yourself where you're like, I really want to meet you and find out what you love at this stage of our lives. Because I know as soon as I say, put your phone down and stick something else in there, it just creates this other kind of funny form of drama. And that's
Yeah.
fine. It's going to be a
All right.
journey. And I just want to asterisk all of that for you guys.
I think that's great. Yeah, because there is this other narrative that I also see going on that you've lost yourself in motherhood.
Right.
Now, what is your identity? And this feeling that we can just date a bunch of hobbies. I love that. I have a girlfriend who recently we went to the park and she had a professional camera with her. And I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you doing with the camera? And she's like, you know what? My kids are getting a little older and I wanted to start playing with photography.
Yes.
And I'm like, go for it. And she was taking pictures of things all around us and enjoying herself. And it was so beautiful to watch
Yeah.
her in a very different light than I have as a mom, to watch her as a photographer. And it was just so cool to see. So I think that's a great tip. If you haven't gotten, I mean, our listeners are going to get so much from this conversation, but the one thing I'm going to really take away is to date a bunch of hobbies. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that idea, Sterling.
Doesn't
I
it take the
love
pressure off? You're just like, "Oh, this doesn't have to be who I am. I'm just gonna try it."
I love it. I love that. And I know you spoke a little bit about how perhaps you don't drink and not so interested in that. I agree with you. I feel the same way. And I think there is this culture of mama needs a glass of wine, and that's how mom winds down at the end of the day. And for a lot of us, we don't feel that way, but we certainly need to wind down. We need to cool off from a busy day,
Yeah.
especially with these beautiful big families with homeschooling. So, what is your favorite go to calm down trick? at the end of the day? What do you do? I know for me, I love to take a bath with some Epsom salt, and that's my quiet time. But what's some advice you have for moms for the end of the day?
Yeah, I do really like baths. I would say find like 10 things and then go, what kind of evening do I want tonight? I do love baths a lot. I really love listening to audiobooks while doing a paper and pencil Sudoku puzzle. I used to have that on my phone, but back last fall when I took pretty much all the apps off my phone, that went. And so I use a paper version of that. Sometimes I like journaling and talking to the Lord and I will just write out a discussion with him. And it's so lovely. Whatever you're feeling like you're missing in your life right now, either in your friend circle or in your marriage relationship or from the mom that you wish that you had, but she doesn't show up that way, I guarantee you that the Lord is just on standby, ready to fill that
Mhm.
hole for you. And he's just ready to go, you're so pretty and I'm so proud of you. And you did such a good job today. Like he is just so excited to tell you how proud he is of you. And I think so often we go to these kind of earthly relationships and it's nice when you have one that does that, but we don't all have that. We don't all have those kinds of people to lean on. And so leaning on the Lord, and that's just exactly how I do it. I just kind of write questions to the Lord and then I pause and I let him talk to me and then I write down what I think he says to me. And that is a very, very soothing activity. Sometimes my kids are older now. My youngest is 5, but my oldest is 14. And so sometimes I take a deep breath and I pep talk myself and I go, hey, kid, I know you're tired and you just want to clock out and just go to your room. But I think this is going to be one of those nights where you need to hold some hearts. Because
Mhm.
when you have bigger kids, you guys, you know that they want to talk to you at 8:30. That's when they want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you all day long. They want to do it at the end of the day. And so sometimes I make a sacrifice. And I think sacrificing is nice sometimes. I just think we get mixed up with the Catholic mom message that's just like, die to yourself all the time, offer it up, everything should be
Right.
terrible, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think that. I don't think that. But I think if we are going to give up something of ourselves, to just let our yes mean yes and not have bitterness. And that's the difference for me. Like if I'm going to give up my evening when I'm tired and I don't want to talk about whatever silly things kids want to talk about, it's not silly to them, but it's silly to me. And to
Right.
just really sit there and hold their hearts, I just give myself over to it and I'm not then bitter about it. So I don't know. I dated a lot of things, and I'll tell you guys one of the tricks is touching your skin. I want you to touch your neck just really lovingly, like you are just lovingly kind of caressing your own neck, and then just say, "Hey, love, what do you need? What do you need?" And because the Holy Spirit lives inside of us, we always know what we need, and so you can just use that to determine what kind of evening you think you should have.
Beautifully said. I know you speak to that a lot in your book, Sterling, about how when you make the decision to do something, then do it with your whole heart and without
Yeah.
feeling burdensome. Kind of, I know you speak in the book about asking your husband to maybe wash the dishes. And if he didn't do it and you're going to just go do it, don't do it while you're stewing and there's steam coming out of your ears. If you're
Yeah.
going to make the decision to just go do it, then do it with a happy heart and maybe have that discussion with him. And I think that part of the book was just so powerful. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, people talk about the dishwasher thing. It's funny when you're writing a book, you never know like what's going to resonate with people. But people bring up the dishwasher thing probably more than anything. And here's what it
Really?
is, you guys.
That's
It's
funny.
like if you ask a husband to unload the dishwasher and he doesn't, okay, then I give 4 different options for how you can react. And 2 of them are that you choose to unload the dishwasher and you choose to do it. And we're not upset. We're just like, you know what? I'm happy to do this. I mean, and one of them is to do it for him, like as an act of service for him. And one of them is to do it as an act of service for you. Like, you know what? I'm going to do this because tomorrow morning, Sterling is going to be so happy that we took the time to unload the dishwasher right now. And then I give 2 versions where we just ask him again and we say, hey, can you unload the dishwasher? And a lot of husbands have told you, hey, can you just ask me again? And we have so much drama about that. Like it's such a huge deal in our minds. Like, I shouldn't have to ask you. I shouldn't have to ask you twice. I'm like, that guy is tired just like you're tired. And he doesn't have a natural homemaking gene like a lot of women have. And why is it a problem to ask him again, especially if he said, please just ask me again? And so I kind of give these 2 options for asking him to do it. And I think this is a great example of I don't think we should all be doormats. I don't think we should all just suck it up and do everything. But if you are going to do it, let your yes be yes and not be resentful. Or if you're not, if you're going to ask for help, ask from help from this like really lovely, calm, peaceful place instead of being like sharp and snarky about it.
I love that. So many good tips in this episode already. And all I keep thinking as you're speaking, I'm taking it all in, but I just keep hearing the words, the Lord is on standby. that you
Yeah.
said just a few minutes ago. That is such a powerful statement, and turning to prayer is always a good option, always, going to bring us relief and comfort. And that was just such a beautiful way to say it, Sterling. You've
Yeah.
given me so much food for thought, so many tips that I know I am excited to implement into my own life. And I want to ask you before we wrap up today, is there anything left on your heart that you feel like sharing with the moms that are listening to today's episode?
Yeah, the first thing I teach, and I teach it in every single thing that I do, is how to hear the voice of God. And I just think that that's the number one skill to living life. And it's the number one skill I intend to teach my children before they leave my house. So I don't think about math. I don't think about reading or history or any of that, right? The number one skill that I want my kids to learn is the deep belief that He talks to us, how to hear that, and then how to obey, that's gonna be up to each person and their own free will. But if you right now do not believe in your bones that God speaks to you, like, I would just not do any other self-help things, and I would go become obsessed with that. I would become obsessed with, like, "Oh, does God talk to people? How? How does His voice sound? How can I practice that?" And it is a skill that you get better at, but I just think it's the secret to all life, because if we pray and ask Him things and He tells you, you will feel so confident. And the other day I had a beautiful experience where I was asking Him two things. And one of the ones He gave me like a better answer even than I was expecting. And it felt so sparkly and yummy. And then the second thing, He really gave me the opposite answer of what I wanted. And I was so disappointed. And He'll sit with me in my disappointment where I'm like, all right, Lord, I'll do that. But I'm just sad right now. Like, I want it the other way. But when it comes from the Lord, it just feels right. Even if it's not what you want to hear, there's like this lovely conviction or rightness about it. And so out of everything I teach, I really just think that that's the most important thing.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Sterling. And thank you for being here with me today. This was a
Yes.
lot of fun, so informative, but some good laughs, and you made it so lighthearted. It could be a very hard topic, but
Yeah.
really just brought so much joy to me today. So thank you for that, Sterling. For more information about Sterling and Catholic Mom Calm, be sure to check out the show notes below. I'm going to have it all linked there for you. Sterling, thank you so much for today's wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
This isn't the end of the conversation. I want to hear from you. Come say hi on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, or leave a comment below. I want to know what today's conversation sparked in you. I read and respond to every message. Until next time, remember, you got this.